Hey guys, what is up? NYK31 here. This is a Madden 19 online CFM game. Be talking mostly about Madden 20 and what we have learned, read, and heard so far. And this is really the only video I'm going to do talking about Madden 20 for a while. I get it. I mean, if the Madden hype train in itself is a self-feeding, self-fulfilling thing. I'm not in any hurry to make a boatload of Madden 20 videos talking about things that we don't really know too much about. There are some things that we can kind of hypothesize, which I'll discuss, but I'm not going to be making, several Madden 20 videos. I'm not going to make a Madden 20 video every single day. Not until at least. When's the last time? When's the last one of these streams are going to be doing? They're probably going to be doing one. They said they're going to be doing one like one every week, and really the gameplay one is going to be the one that I'm going to be most concerned about and focused on, and that's going to be last. That's going to be at the end of the month. So this is going to be it for me talking about Madden 20 until June, probably, or around there. Now, if you're a monetized YouTuber, I get that. I'm not going to knock your hustle. You got to put out content, and you got to put out content that's going to get eyeballs. So that's all, fine and good. Me, I'm not. And plus, we're just not going to learn a whole heck of a lot here in May. I mean, the first stream they did was, about 30 minutes long, and just pretty much touched on some general stuff. I'm not into QB1. I'm not into that whatsoever. I'm not going to discuss it. I have zero interest. I won't spend a single second of my gameplay experience on it. I just don't care. I don't like my player modes. It's complete fantasy. It's, by their definition, it's set up for you to become a superhero with very little resistance. I just don't like them. It's not my cup of tea. If you like it, knock yourself out. I'm sure there's other people that are going to be making content discussing that, or will have an interest in it when that drops. I'm just not that guy. The only attention that I give them is when I'm thinking about or I'm concerned about how much resources those type of modes take up and how much time is allocated toward building those modes that could be used elsewhere as far as fetching out other aspects of the game that I feel have more pressing priority. Head-to-head gameplay, user versus CPU gameplay, franchise mode stuff, playbooks, things of that nature. Schematics, all that kind of stuff. You guys know I'm a heavy, X's and O's schematic guy. Those are the kind of things that I care about, and I care about functionality, I care about mechanics, and I just, here's the thing that we've all seen EA with this game try to push, and that is catering the game or catering their marketing of the game to Johnny Casual and Timmy Credit Card. They've had this obsession, which we saw manifest itself in Long Shot the past couple of years, with how can we grab new users and hold their attention? How can we cater to a broader net of users, so to speak? And in my opinion, in doing that, they not only alienated their core by noobing down the game to make Johnny Casual and Timmy Credit Card feel like that they have a chance to compete in any given game at any given time, they've also alienated the casual as well, in the sense that when they do try to go head-to-head online, they're still getting their teeth kicked in. I remember the tweet that caused a bit of a ruckus several months ago, where someone tweeted Clint about how their cousin picked up the game for the first time and went online and was getting sacked 8 times a game and getting blown out, and they were getting frustrated, and he felt like that the experience was not very user-friendly for him. And most of us were like, too bad. Toughen little Johnny up. He's got to get his game tighter before he, steps on these online streets. So really, Everything is disenfranchised. Everyone is disenfranchised, in my opinion, in some way, shape, or form. I just think that they've been trying to do too much and trying to broaden the game before the game is stable enough where you can do compartmentalizing of gameplay styles, and before you can spend resources on QB1 and stuff like that. Games like NBA 2K and MLB The Show, they do have their first-person, single-player, my player, my career type of modes, but you also have a million things to do in those games. You have two different ways to play franchise mode in NBA 2K, for example, between my GM and my league, for crying out loud. And with MLB, you have similar depth as well. Now, what is encouraging is that, at least based off of the first live stream, they seem to be trying to incorporate more personality into the franchise mode, both for whether you're an offline franchise mode player or online. And they did touch on something that I'm really looking forward to seeing more about. They talked about ball trajectory. They kind of let that slip, and that kind of perked my ears up and got my attention. If they have put an effort into rectifying that, that will change a whole heck of a lot of things gameplay-wise, as far as opening up route progressions and your ability to trust what you read and attack levels in a more authentic fashion. They also seem to be trying to incorporate or integrate some personality into the individual players as well. There are some things about the X Factor and Superstar stuff that I question. I need to learn more about what these abilities are and how they impact the game and how they're balanced in the game. Now, I know we had, back in Madden 08, the weapon system or the weapons traits, and we had something similar in 2K football, of course, with the ability icons. But the reason why people are skeptical is based off of their experience of years playing the game head to head, and also when you combine that with the fact that some of them just sound like trouble waiting to happen. You know what I mean? Like when we hear about something called the bazooka, trait that allows your quarterback when he's in that zone to have the ability to throw 80 yards on the fly. Now, on the surface of it, that sounds an awful lot like APF 2K8's rocket arm attribute, or laser arm attribute. If you had a rocket arm quarterback, when you charge your throw, you get maximum throw power, 99 throw power. Laser arm quarterback, charge your throw, you get maximum accuracy. But in our minds, and playing this game this year, when we hear bazooka chemistry, we're envisioning a Madden Ultimate Team Weekend League game. We're playing against Vic. Vic is rolling out, sprinting at full speed backwards, 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage, pirouetting and throwing an 80-yard bomb with perfect precision down the field for a teabag aggressive catch right over our defender. That is what we're envisioning because our head-to-head gameplay experience, we've seen that be possible. And we hear something called the fearmonger attribute, where a pass rusher can generate proximity. A pass rusher can influence the quarterback's accuracy as far as his ability to sense pressure and throw the ball under pressure accurately, even when he's engaged with a blocker. Again, I'll use APF 2K as an example. That sounds a lot like pass rush bonus, where the defender who's able to rush the passer can rattle the QB based off of proximity pressure. He doesn't have to beat the blocker clean every time, but if he's able to push the pocket, if he's an interior rusher into the face of the QB will feel that. If he's an edge rusher, if he's able to get bend around the edge, even if he does not finish the play, his presence is felt, and that rattles the QB. But in Madden, you do have some good edge rush animations at times, but you don't have much of an interior rush push. So, again, we're assuming when we hear that you're going to be having a situation where Aaron Donald on the interior is not able to beat the rusher. He's just kind of playing pitter-pat there, but still being able to affect your QB's accuracy because he senses that pressure. That's something that people will have a problem with. Now, do we know if that's going to be the way it plays out? No. But again, we're going by our experience with how the game has worked in simulating interior pass rush and interior pressure, especially. That can work, but only if that mechanic is meshed with a more realistic interior pass rush push to make it make sense. Have they addressed both those things? We don't know. That's why we're skeptical about the sound of some of these abilities, the X Factor traits. Great thing to differentiate players, but how is it balanced? How is it going to work in conjunction with the gameplay mechanics? And how players animate and interact with each other. That's going to be very, very important in determining how these things work in a contextual sense. Like, one of the questions that I have in regards to RPOs, RPOs are not rocket science. Every time something like this gets introduced that's new to Madden, people try to make it more complicated than it really is. It's basically either a dual option or a triple option. You have a defender who you're keying off of their movement for your run-pass key, or if it's a triple option RPO, your give, your keep, and your throw key, which would be the equivalent of your option pitch on a triple option. In order for that to work, you have to be able to key a defender, be able to make a read. And the defenders need to be influenced by ball fakes in some way, shape, or form. Does that extend to play action passes that are not RPOs? I doubt they've addressed both. You have some plays, some zone read plays, and some wide receiver bubble screen and play action wide receiver screens that are already in the game that could be turned into an RPO. Like, for example, you have some zone reads where the slot receiver, instead of blocking, he's running a bubble, and you have some play action wide receiver screens where you have the jailbreak screen and the slant to the opposite side. You can easily tie RPOs to those kind of plays. But if you can't conflict the defender because of the way that defenders move in space faster than you guys can move in offense, not going to be very useful. You can't run an inverted veer in this game for that very reason. Another thing, I love how they talked about how the rating spread is going to be increased. That's something that I've spoken to Clint about a lot over the past couple of years, that there's not enough of a spread between players. Remember, I think it was Madden 16, where the meta and salary cap was to tank your offensive line and roll with silver offensive linemen. The reason why people did that is because there's not enough of a spread between their blocking ratings and the pass rush ratings to make you get hammered for doing that. You had to have just sky-high pass rush move ratings to be able to dominate a guy with pass block ratings in the 70s. And since people want to use their cap on defensive backs and offensive players, people didn't bother with high-end pass rushers because they cost too much for what benefit they would provide. Still this year in salary cap, people roll with as little on the offensive line as they can get away with. 20 cap offensive linemen, 18, 17 cap, things like that. They'll script on the O-line as much as they possibly can get away with. That's a problem. If you don't have to invest in your linemen to some degree, it just becomes an arms race for the best receivers, the best QBs, the best DBs, and some fast players to user and hit stick guys with and get user picks with. Now, can lower rated players make plays that hold their own sometimes? Yeah, certainly. But if you're relying on low rated guys to handle studs one-on-one on a consistent basis, that should be a problem for you, whether it be on the offensive line and defensive line, in the secondary, wherever on the field. The question is that how do these spread out ratings and spread out overalls interact with each other? Is a 50 the new 70? Is a 70 the new 80? Or is a 50 still a 50? How are these scaled? But the idea and concept I like a lot. There's just not enough differentiation between your all-pro, your good player, your average player, and the player that should not be on the field you need to replace. And what I really don't want no QB X Factor trait that allows the 50 overall lineman to stone Khalil Mack all game because of an X Factor superstar trait. That I don't want. Some of these things you can just see the overpowered potential of some of them a mile away just by how they sound. There has to be counters and bouncers to all of this, and we just don't know enough about them yet. So that's going to be very important in the coming weeks to see what exactly these superstar X Factor traits do and all that good stuff, what their counters are and how they're balanced, how they impact the game. Because to me, that's going to make or break a lot when it comes to head-to-head play. And really, it'll impact the offline franchise too. How are these traits and abilities going to impact your team and how they perform? So, again, we'll find out. But until we find out more, I'm not going to say too much more. Anyway, love to hear what you guys think. Hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you later. Peace.